Alright, welcome back to another Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade video. The new banner and the new event has dropped. So let's look first at the event. It is a map exploration event, and you do the bosses, get coins, exchange them for the SSM Memory, Phantom Medals, stuff like that, tickets. Honestly, I do prefer the event with the tickets, where you fight the boss and get those tickets, then you gacha, just because you get way more resources from that. But this one's actually, most of the time, way easier than the other type of event. So that's good. Let's take a look at the SSM Memory. What does it do? So, the first effect is 13% Jujutsu damage increase for 4 turns. And you can reuse it every 7 turns. Which is, like, very good, right? You can put it on anyone. It's actually very decent. The fact that it increases the Jujutsu damage of all allies. Actually very decent, surprisingly, for a free-to-play memory. And then we have the second effect, which is just a 5% HP recovery at the start of a wave. So, I mean, kinda useless if you're playing like one wave missions, but if the mission has multiple waves, it can clutch, right? It's not much, it's just 5%, but it's something. But yeah, definitely this effect, really good. Put it on a support unit or whatever, and just get that extra damage, right? I think it's worth duping. It's worth the duping, definitely. But let's get to the juicy part. The new 2 banners. So we have Kashimo and Momo, both being blue. Let's take a look at the skills. Actually, let me see. Are they separated actually? Let me read real quick. Oh, they aren't. Okay, so Momo is in this banner and Kashimo is in Momo's banner, but the rate up is obviously different. Like the chance to get either one on their respective banner is higher. That's actually pretty decent. I like that. I actually really like that. But enough yapping, let's get to his skills and passive. So his passive, once his blood state or whatever ends, he increases the damage taken for himself. So it's a negative buff, right? A debuff to himself. His normal skill does 140% physical damage. And if you are in his state, in his blood technique state, it also gives yourself the buff of 21% damage increase for 3 turns. Very good, very average, first skill, but being in the state, you get the damage buff, and yeah, it's, I mean, better than average, right? Then you have his self buff, gives yourself 42% melee damage increase, and gives yourself 35% technique or jujutsu damage increase for 3 turns. And also gives yourself that blood technique state for 3 turns. And you get 5 cursed energy recovery for 3 turns. Which is, I mean, absolutely insane. It only costs 15 cursed energy as well. I wonder if his passive is gone if he goes into the state again. So imagine he activates the state, loses the state, right, after 3 turns. And then when you use the self buff again, his negative self buff due to his passive is gone. Not sure. Doesn't say anything here, but might be if that's the case, he actually has no drawbacks. I don't see any drawbacks. And also I wonder if this negative self buff stacks. So like, if you lose his blood state multiple times, whether his negative buff stacks. But it seems really easy to keep him in the state so you don't actually receive the negative buff. Like, just keep using the skill 1 turn before his state is gone, and then you're not taking increased damage. His third skill, 201% Jujutsu damage, and if you are in the state, it changes from a single target to an AoE. The damage percentage is the same, but yeah, without the state, it's a single target. With the state, it's an AoE attack. Interesting. And then his ult does 1.35k Jujutsu damage to a single target, and if you are in the state, blood state, it does 30% increased damage. I did the math before, and it's about 1.75k percentage basically within the state. It's a decent single target. It's not Gojo level or Utah level, but it's pretty decent, especially since blue doesn't really have. I mean, it has Gojo, right? So yeah, they do have damage. He does. But yeah, I mean, he looks fun. He looks really fun. I like his gimmick, but definitely not strong or OP. So I would say it's a skip, right? You can skip him, shouldn't summon on him. Maybe you're lucky, get him eventually from tickets if he gets added to the standard pool. The new SSM Memory. So gives yourself 15 cursed energy recovery and also recovers your HP by 35%. Reusable every 7 turns. Really good, really good. Good on supports, good on tanks. I mean, if you get it, I wouldn't complain, right? And then the second effect, 15% damage increase at the start of the battle. So honestly, you should, if you have a universal dupe it, if you get it, because I mean that's like a free buff, which is permanent. And then the effect of the memory itself is also very decent. You shouldn't summon on these banners. They are standard banners, but I mean, if you're a whale, or if you maybe at one point you get lucky with your first multi or something, whatever, definitely a good thing to have, right? Good options to have. It's not like you know pulling blue Megumin and it's just depression. So yeah, Momo, as I said, blue as well. So her passive is that once she drops below 60% HP, she grants herself 2 evasions. Those 2 evasions don't have a turn restriction, but she basically evades 2 attacks, guaranteed. Her first skill does ranged Jujutsu damage for 150%, also increase the damage taken by the enemy she hits 2 turns for 3 times. So yeah, she has a debuff on her normal skill, which is absolutely insane. Also a good debuff, right? Like 21% increased damage. I mean, already that sounds really, really strong. Then we have her second skill. Looks like a buff. So she has an increased damage dealt for all allies by 68.7% for 2 turns. And also increases break damage by 20% for 2 turns. Then the third skill. This one's OP. I've read it before and it's so OP. Increase critical chance by 45% for 2 turns, increase critical damage by 30% for 2 turns, and also debuffs the enemy's critical resistance by 30% for 2 turns. So essentially, she guarantees critting for all your units. It's so OP, it's actually insane how OP this buff is. And it's a third skill, that means that, you know, for auto, it's insane. I think she is the best support right now. Just because this is on her third skill, it costs 25 curse energy, which is completely fine, and just looks insane, insane buff. Like all the others, SR supports for example, they're good, but the third skill usually isn't the buff, right? Like Yaga's buff is on his second skill, Nanami's buff is on his second skill, so they are not really good to auto. But this Momo has her buff on the third skill, and then the ult very similar, honestly, to the ult of the SR version, 798% Jujutsu damage, and then also gives yourself evasion, I believe, and also has a chance to stun by 90% for 1 turn. And this one's AoE, obviously. This attack is AoE, just to make sure you guys know. So, I mean, she's really good. She's really, really good. Should you summon though? I've been saying this all the time. Standard banners are not worth summoning for unless it's like, Hollow Purple Gojo is absolutely insane, right? Who's game breaking, but like units like these, not sure. I think definitely Kamo, not worth summoning. He is not worth summoning. Momo, however, I mean, like trying in a multi maybe, or maybe try for 1 copy. Man, that third skill is so good. It's so good. I need her for my auto team. I think this SSM Memory is actually really good on Momo. I'm pretty sure it's made for Momo. You get the recovery to get her third skill again faster, and she has some, some buffs as well. But yeah, final result: don't summon on Kamo. I mean, maybe summon on Momo, but honestly skip, because we have so many good characters coming, and there might be even more broke, right? Especially when you're free to play. We are close to season 2, right? Toji, Gojo, prequel, Ghetto, stuff like that. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. I think the translation should be up soon on the Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade wiki, so you can take a look there later this day, just to check their skills out again. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe as well. Don't forget that. Peace.